One shift in the swell, and the ocean changes hands at once. Orcas drive forward like black and white streaks of discipline, closing distance before anyone can register the change. From frigid ice floes to migration routes stretching thousands of miles, every meeting point can become a test. When the formation tightens, speed is only the surface, while collective intelligence becomes the sharpest edge. And the only question left is which side can hold its breathing rhythm when the orcas begin to calculate. Although often called killer whales, biologically, orcas are the largest dolphins on the planet, reaching lengths of over 30 feet and weighing more than 12,000 pounds. Their highly developed brains allow them to remember routes, recognize individual calls, and retain strategies passed down through generations. Each population has its own distinct culture, from coordinated hunting methods to communication sounds, and even preferred diets shaped by regional waters. Across the open ocean, orcas are not only apex predators, but also symbols of intelligence and the rhythm of ecological balance. In the vast open ocean, the blue whale appears as a living monument to evolution, the largest animal ever to exist on Earth. With a massive body stretching close to 100 feet, it glides through deep water like a dark blue giant, seemingly untouchable. Yet that great size is no longer an absolute shield against the ocean's harsh rules. A pod of orcas, led by an experienced matriarch, closes in with careful control. There is no chaotic rush. Instead, they execute precise teamwork, learned and passed down across generations. Individuals rotate in and out to press close, cut off the route of travel, and apply constant pressure to the blue whale's immense body, step by step forcing its blowhole below the surface. The encounter quickly becomes a test of endurance, where breathing, the key to staying alive, turns into the critical weakness. Even as the giant tries to respond with bursts of speed and powerful tail sweeps, each attempt to break free only drains energy faster. In the end, against the pod's steady persistence and cold coordination, the blue whale collapses, a clear reminder that in the modern ocean, intelligence and strategy can rise above sheer size. Seals spend most of their time resting and raising their young on frozen ice floes, like natural fortresses amid a harsh ocean. With compact bodies weighing around 600 pounds and quick reflexes, they are accustomed to hauling themselves onto the ice to avoid hidden dangers beneath the dark water. In that vast white silence, a sense of safety seems assumed, though it is, in reality, always fragile. Beneath the deep blue surface, a pod of orcas quietly emerges, studying the ice flow like strategists reading terrain before an operation. This is the moment when the wave-washing technique is prepared, a tactic that only works when every individual follows the shared rhythm with absolute precision. When the timing is right, the orcas swim side by side at speeds exceeding 25 miles per hour, driving straight toward the ice in a tight formation. Just a few feet from the target, they powerfully sweep their tails in unison, generating mechanical waves that cause the ice surface to tilt and break apart. The seals are forced to slide into the freezing water, where the orca formation is already in place. The hunt concludes quickly, without chaos and without waste. For the orcas, this serves as clear proof that in nature, collective intelligence and tactical discipline can overcome any advantage of position or raw strength alone. Beneath the turbulent swells off the coast of Gansbai, a great white shark weighing close to 5,000 pounds patrols with measured control. It is a finely tuned predator, with a bite force estimated near 4,000 pounds per square inch, and a highly sensitive ability to detect faint electrical signals, enough to pick up a nearby heartbeat at close range. Its rough, sandpaper-like skin, built from millions of tiny tooth-like scales, helps reduce drag, while also providing protection. For a long era, the great white stood as a seemingly untouchable symbol of dominance. But from deeper water, a dark shape nearly twice as large moves in. A pod of orcas does not rely on chaotic instinct. It advances like an organized unit. Using echolocation, they map their opponent with precision and focus on the liver, a high-energy reserve that can weigh more than 1,000 pounds. Instead of meeting those teeth head-on, the pod closes in through layered positioning, using turbulence and swirling water to disrupt the shark's electrical sensing. The moment the solitary predator loses its bearings, the lead orca delivers a rapid strike from a blind angle beneath the body, flipping the shark in an instant. A state known as tonic immobility takes hold, leaving the shark fully unresponsive. The encounter ends quickly and with clinical efficiency. The ocean reflects a hard truth. Collective intelligence can sit at the very top of the food chain. In nutrient-rich yet treacherous waters, the line between survival and loss for sea lions is thinner than ever. An adult weighing close to 1,500 pounds often relies on the group and rocky shores to rest, appearing secure within the vast ocean. But the moment one individual drifts away from the group, that position shifts immediately. Below the surface, orcas emerge with near-silent precision. There is no disorderly pursuit. The pod divides into controlled roles. One individual moves in from the front to restrict the direction of travel, while others cut in from the sides, accelerating to speeds that can reach up to 30 miles per hour to close the gap. Pressure is maintained without pause, forcing repeated course changes and steadily draining energy. As space tightens, the sea lion is left with only one option: moving towards the shoreline. In sub-Antarctic regions, rocky coasts become a new boundary of survival. Here, some orca pods apply a technique known as intentional stranding, timing the tides to surge briefly into shallow water and reduce distance in an instant. Other individuals generate waves that make the rocks slick, limiting any clear path back to deeper water. Terrain, timing, and formation merge into a single coordinated plan. When the surface settles again, what stands confirmed is more than strength alone. In the natural world, those that command strategy and timing are the ones that hold the advantage in survival. Along the northwest coast of North America, gray whales embark on one of nature's greatest journeys, a round-trip migration spanning more than 10,000 miles between icy polar waters and the warm lagoons of Baja. Weighing up to 90,000 pounds, each individual moves like a living vessel, crossing the ocean at a steady pace of about 5 miles per hour, carrying an entire breeding season and the memory of millions of years of evolution. But at narrow coastal passages, the pressure of survival begins to rise. Orca pods follow with patient persistence, moving like distant shadows, waiting for moments when currents become unsettled or when a mother and calf are forced into shallower water. There, the immense size once seen as strength turns into a burden, slowing movement and draining endurance with every attempt to adjust course. The orca formation operates with machine-like precision. One group moves across the front to disrupt swimming rhythm, while others repeatedly slip between positions like living wedges, steadily breaking the connection between mother and calf. Every movement unfolds beneath the surface, allowing the pod to conserve energy, while the whales gradually lose access to oxygen-rich water. This is not simply a pursuit, but a fragile boundary where nature's strategic design collides with one of the most powerful expressions of maternal bond on the planet. Dolphins are often described as the ocean's silver arrows. With streamlined bodies that can surge past 20 miles per hour, they can change direction in an instant, guided by echolocation and powered by strong tail muscles. When moving as a pod, they become a living shield, constantly rotating positions to protect one another. But orcas understand that pattern. They do not pursue through chaos, but through a carefully staged plan. one group holds pressure from behind, creating just enough psychological stress to keep the dolphins accelerating without pause. The other group quietly blocks escape routes ahead and along both sides. The wide sea is suddenly reduced to a narrow corridor, where every sharp turn becomes another costly drain of energy. As the formation stretches and fatigue begins to fracture the protective screen, one individual that falls out of rhythm is quickly isolated. That is when the orcas launch the decisive burst, closing in from a blind angle with exact precision to end the chase without wasted motion. In this encounter, the winner is not only the one with speed, but the one with the ability to read fear and anticipate each reflex. Once again, orcas show that their greatest strength is coordination, moving like a single organism in the open ocean. In the raw intensity of the wild, the grizzly bear is not just an animal. It is a force of nature. One sweeping strike cuts through the moment, making even the toughest rivals hesitate and back away. There is no softness here, only a sudden surge of power and instinctive control. Beneath that massive presence, resistance can feel pointless. And today, the deep silence of the forest will be broken by a single misstep. In the Brooks Range, the porcupine caribou herd moves like a living current through the valleys, steady, disciplined, and always using cold winds to help mask its trail. At around 400 pounds, each animal carries wide hooves that work like natural snowshoes, making travel across slushy snow and soft ground far easier. In urgent moments, the herd's burst of speed can still help it clear dangers out on open country. Behind that moving current, the grizzly bear watches with patient, opportunistic focus. Even though most of its diet is plant-based, during seasonal shifts, caribou become essential fuel. Despite its heavy build, a grizzly bear can surge up to about 35 miles per hour in short rushes, turning a few seconds of inattention into a high-pressure chase. Rather than wasting energy on the entire herd, the bear targets weaker lynx, calves, or individuals that fall out of rhythm. When the herd is pushed into deep snow or towards the water's edge, the caribou's speed advantage starts to fade. That is when the balance of survival tilts toward the one willing to wait for the decisive moment. In the Northwest, as river water starts to chill, Alaska enters the spectacular salmon run. Millions leave the Pacific Ocean and push more than 500 miles upstream to reach their spawning grounds. For the grizzly bear, this marks the start of hyperphagia, a life-sustaining cycle of intense feeding before a brutal winter. Beside waterfalls just a few feet high, the grizzly bear stands like a landmark in the rushing current. It does not waste energy chasing. Instead, it waits for perfect timing as salmon launch from the surface and drop straight into its zone of control. One decisive sweep of a paw or a quick, efficient step forward is enough to confirm the river's dominance. As autumn begins to close, the feeding approach shifts in subtle ways. The grizzly bear moves down into shallow stretches where salmon are worn down after the long journey. Now it becomes more selective, favoring the most energy-rich parts, like fatty tissue and roe, essential nutrients for building a fat layer more than about 4 inches thick beneath the skin. Even though it can eat up to 100 pounds of food per day, it rarely takes everything. What remains is carried by the river. Nutrients seep into the forest soil, continuing to feed plants and supporting future generations of migrants. In the northern wilderness, gray wolves act like architects that regulate the tempo of survival. A pack of about 10 moves in a strict tactical formation, holding a steady pace near 35 miles per hour in relentless pursuits. With iron discipline, they tighten the ring, make a lightning close approach, then pull back again. A calculated, probing dance that asserts their presence around a food source. But when brutal winter clamps down, tension rises with every step of the grizzly bear. If the bear decides to hold its ground, the balance shifts instantly. It lifts its shoulders and turns its massive body sideways to form a solid, moving barrier. With a single sweeping motion from claws about 4 inches long, the grizzly bear marks a clear no-go zone, challenging every intention from its rivals. Discipline keeps wolves persistent, but they understand one small mistake can come with severe consequences. The pack keeps its distance, waiting with patience instead of forcing the issue. The grizzly bear also avoids a long chase to conserve precious calories. In extreme cold, the winner is not the loudest, but the one that controls distance and timing with the greatest precision. As the weather turns colder, these giants weighing over 800 pounds begin shifting their focus from berry patches to more reliable sources of protein. Their rivals are deer, agile animals with the stamina to hold distance for miles. Knowing the limits of endurance, the grizzly bear gives up extreme long chases. Instead, it reads the terrain like a true tactical map. It uses 30-degree slopes, narrow trails, or dense brush, where one mistimed step can break the prey's formation and scatter the group. When the moment is right, the grizzly bear unleashes top speed over a short distance, pinning the target against the landscape's natural squeeze points to take control. In this country, raw strength is only the baseline. Tactical thinking and persistence are what keep the grizzly bear at the top of North America's ecosystem. In Alaska's backcountry, the grizzly bear meets a moving wall, the moose. A full-grown bull can stand over 6 feet at the shoulder and weigh up to around 1,500 pounds. Antlers spreading nearly 5 feet wide turn each step into a clear message, enough to make even the boldest rivals think twice. The grizzly bear understands that power does not mean charging straight in. It keeps distance, circles along the forest edge, and follows quietly through cold marshland. The focus is often a younger animal, or one falling out of rhythm from fatigue. Deep mud and slushy snow become allies of the patient hunter, slowing quick turns and reducing the advantage of long strides. But against a resilient adult, every close approach is a calculated risk. A single strike from the front legs can leave a predator drained for days. So the grizzly bear chooses to pull back and conserve energy. In the wild, knowing when to retreat is a top-level survival strategy. Grizzly bears are naturally proud, solitary animals across vast open country. But in the harsh north, when survival hotspots appear, like a narrow river packed with salmon or energy-rich feeding grounds, the safe distance between individuals gets compressed. In that tight space, conflict is less about raw aggression and more about the only language available to establish a temporary social order. Most confrontations end before they truly escalate. A locked stare, shoulders raised, a slow step forward to display authority. A deep rumble and a close approach are often enough to make the weaker bear back away and yield the better position. When neither bear accepts retreat, the encounter heats up in controlled stages. They circle, measure distance, then make short shoves to test the other's response. Every movement happens fast and decisive, but still kept within control. In winter, cold below 0 degrees Fahrenheit, real victory is not a dramatic fight. It is keeping the body intact to endure the hard months ahead. The strongest bear is not the most reckless. It is the one that controls its own power, knowing when to show presence and when to step back to survive for tomorrow. When North American winter arrives and temperatures drop well below 0 degrees Fahrenheit, the grizzly bear enters a long hibernation period. Before that, it has built up a thick layer of fat like a stored power reserve, both insulating the body and fueling it through months without feeding. Over roughly 6 months, its pace of life slows noticeably. Heart rate drops, breathing becomes less frequent, and the body shifts into maximum energy-saving mode. For a mother bear, this is also the time when she gives birth in the quiet of a snow den. Newborn cubs weigh about 1 pound, resting close to her and growing on nutrient-rich milk. Hibernation is not just sleep. It is a refined survival strategy. When the ice melts, the bear leaves the den, and a new cycle begins. The ocean settles after each surge, and every encounter becomes only a brief slice of balance, where the side that adapts more effectively holds the advantage.
And if they sense an opportunity, well, here's
Maternal
one.
bonds
We're ready.
remain
Let's
resilient,
go.
even
We've
when they
now
must
got 50
yield
or 60
under the
killer
pressure
whales.
of the sea. To continue following the next chapters of the wild world, viewers are invited to like and
Think about
subscribe.
the amount of energy that is expended
As
to
the
catch
horizon shifts in
But
color,
her aim
the ocean
was perfect.
opens yet another test. Quiet in nature, relentlessly demanding.